welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment and the sports capital of the world. I would say boxing, but now we have all sports. We got basketball, we got football, we got hockey, you name it, we have it all. Anyway, today I bring out somebody very special who's a New Yorker, and she's been involved in sports herself, and as a realtor, and she's been a consultant in real estate. She's doing so many things. I'm so proud of her because I have 3 daughters. And of course, I tell my daughters, there's nobody better than you out there. You can do anything anybody can do out there. And that's why I bring Lita Kaufman on the show. Lita, welcome to the show.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much for having me. And happy Veterans Day to everybody out there. Grateful for your service. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, thank you, because I'm a veteran myself.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Anyway, so I want to say, Lita, you've been here in Vegas now, how many, 5 years?
4.5 years, almost 5 years,
okay.
Yes.
What brought you out to Vegas?
So there were some things that happened in my life back in 2018.
Okay.
And I just came out here for vacation. Loved boxing, was involved in boxing in South Florida. So where else to move but across the country to the boxing capital of the world, which is Las Vegas. So that's how I ended up here.
So what brought you into boxing?
So I remember, everybody asks me that. So when I was younger, I used to remember watching boxing. Not necessarily with a friend or a relative. I would watch boxing and always be interested in it. As a teenager, I used to go to the Golden Gloves at Madison Square Garden. And then when I was working in the Manhattan, and you take the train, subway, you get the daily boxing periodical.
Right.
So I would just read it and keep abreast, and I was fascinated by all the boxing information. So then I would start watching more fights, and then some other things happened, and I got an email from Roy Engelbrecht about Fight Promoter University.
Okay.
And I would get it every couple of months, and I said, I really want to go. I want to learn more about boxing. And it was either I didn't have the time or I didn't have the money. And then one day, the universe gave me both at the same time, and I was able to go there, and I learned a plethora of everything. It was so enriching to the soul and the mind, and it was everything I needed to start putting plans together.
Do you ever think about becoming a boxer yourself back in your years?
Well, no, but no joke. I saw a couple of masters out here, and I said, hey, why don't I try to do that? But I have a shoulder injury, so I can't do that. But I said, wow, I could have the belt and the matching hat and the shoes. Not to joke about it, but yeah, I thought about doing the masters.
Yes, and now you're also involved with an official in the amateur level?
Yes, so that's part of the progression of my grassroots education in boxing. So the first thing when I came out of Fight Promoter University, I started reporting, right? I became a journalist, and I would write ringside and write all the articles. So at some point, I'm writing about an uppercut, a cross, all kinds, and I'm like, wow. I kind of felt like a hypocrite because I've never received one of those punches and I've never given a punch, even though I grew up in Brooklyn. I never was in a fight. So I started training at the gym for fitness. So I'm training, and you meet people and you see the same boxers there, and I would go to all the shows, and you see the same coaches in the corner at the professional shows that you saw at the gyms. So I started getting involved with them. I wrapped a couple of pros' hands, and then one of my colleagues on the amateur side, he says, hey, Lita, why don't you get your books? So I'm like, what books? And he said, your red book and your blue book. I'm like, okay, what's that? So then he explained it's the USA Boxing Coach book and the USA Boxing Official book. So I got them both, of course, because I'm an overachiever. And then I worked the corner on some of his fighters' fights. And then, I joined the LBC in South Florida, where I learned a tremendous amount of stuff. Wrap hands, do this, do that on the amateur side. And then I tried to cross over to the professional side.
Okay, so you got really hooked onto the sport of boxing, and you met a lot of, this is the boxing capital of the world here in Las Vegas.
Yes.
So you got able to meet a lot of individuals out here that are into the game. It is the boxing capital of the world. And So you're doing some judging and some refereeing as well?
So as an official, yes,
Yeah.
I'm a judge. I mostly judge. I did amateur refereeing, mostly in Florida. I did a couple of bouts here as an amateur. I also worked a professional corner. I worked the corner. And I was able to, work as a cut person, and I performed the beginnings of a promotion.
Now, you say you work as a cut person. I mean, how does it, the fighter's cut comes into the corner, you worked on the corner, on the cuts?
Well, so it was my first time.
Yeah.
So basically, the coach was in. I had all the supplies
Yeah.
because I watched them all
The
stitch.
Vaseline.
Yeah, I had the Vaseline. I had the swabs. I didn't have adrenaline because I'm not a doctor. But I watched a lot of Stitch's videos, and I learned what to do. So I was doing the ice and the towel and providing all the supplies. Thankfully, he didn't get cut, and that was my first professional thing besides journalism, and that was really. I said, all I want to do is hold a spit bucket.
Okay, so now, besides holding a split bucket, you also become involved as a promoter too, right? Or manager?
So yes, a friend of mine that knows me for quite some time says, "Hey Lita, why don't you do a promotion?" And I'm like, okay. I'm like, because I could, if you give me a helicopter manual in 2 weeks, I'll learn how to fly a helicopter. So he was saying, Lita, why don't you put a promotion? I'm like, okay. So because they were in Texas, I decided to do it in Corpus Christi at the Richard Bouchard Center. But there were a couple of setbacks,
Okay,
so
well,
it never went through.
It happens, it happens sometimes. You're in so many different areas right now. You cover real estate, you're in boxing, the judging, you work in the corner. I mean, you do just about everything in the sport of boxing. But tell us a little bit about your real estate.
Oh, okay. So I'm licensed. I'm a licensed real estate broker, Nevada, Florida, and Idaho. I keep a small brokerage in Florida for referral business.
How about with loans?
I'm also a mortgage loan originator in 6 states.
Okay.
And I'm running the principal broker for a company out here.
Yeah.
So
And how's real estate these days? I mean, and the economy is not the great. The interest rates have gone up, so it must hurt a little bit in your field, right?
yes, so the interest rates have gone up, and although home values have risen so high, that when people go to sell, depending on the circumstances of why they need to sell, what their motivation is, they're not going to get the top dollar and get the multiple offers like they did in the past. And then when they're going to buy a home, although, depending on how much they owe on the mortgages, they have to pay that off to move on. To qualify for another mortgage could be difficult for some
So let me ask you a
people.
question. Is it a seller's market or is it a buyer's market?
Oh, it's definitely,
like-
definitely a buyer's market.
A buyer's market right now.
Right.
But even though the interest rates are high,
Yes, because so people are qualifying for less, so they're not necessarily buying the house of their dreams. And then, of course, in 2 years, depending on credit and a lot of other disclaimers, they can refinance.
Okay.
And maybe use that house as a rental, take out the equity, and move on to another home.
okay? So you can buy a home and flip them and just...
You could do, yes, there's plans for that too. There's so many types of mortgages out there. If you have 20% but you don't have the income, you could do something called the DSCR loan, and you could qualify based upon the rental income of the property.
Okay,
So,
now, being
so
at
many
today's
things.
Veterans Day, I mean, I know they got the VA's loan as well, right?
Yes, they do have VA loans, and some VA loans are assumable depending on the type of loans, and there's other caveats to it. But there's some loans out there that are assumable, and also there's some sellers that are holding back mortgages for the new buyers and getting an income off of that if they have a low mortgage.
Okay, so what do you recommend to our viewers out there to do as far as real estate? What is your advice to them?
So my advice is to contact your financial professional and your CPA, and if you have some money liquid for a down payment, and in my opinion, you don't know if it's going to go up or down, but it's on a downward slide right now. If you had the capital, might be a good time to invest, depending on what your financial advisor says.
That's good. That's good information. I mean,
Yes.
that's something good to know because I mean, a lot of people with the economy today, things are not the greatest right now,
Right.
and the mortgage rate's gone up
They're in the sevens, but you know something, historically, that's not such a bad rate. Everybody got so spoiled by the 2.5, the 3, but mortgage rates have been,
But then again, you have the option of refinancing if you want, right?
right. And not only that, if you can come up with a down payment, depending on your credit score and other caveats, you can purchase an investment property even if you can't qualify with the debt-to-income ratio, because you qualify based upon the rental income of the home.
Great.
Yes, it's
Okay,
very,
yeah.
very, very interesting.
That's interesting. Now, what advice can you give our viewers out there? I know there's a lot of young ladies out there watching, because I believe that in equal rights. I believe that women should be able to do what a male can do out there. And because I have 3 daughters, so
Right.
I kind of lean that way, because I want my daughters. They all are the same way, like you are. They're very go-getters. They make sure they can do anything out there. I always tell them, you can do anything you want to do in this world if you focus and you believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself and have the confidence that you can do it. I can do anything. That's the way I feel.
Absolutely, and it's beautiful that you teach your daughters that, so they're reared with confidence.
Right.
That's fantastic. So one piece of advice: never give up. Because if you're going into an industry that's male dominated, especially, you're not going to get a welcome at the door and a VIP pass. You're going to have to knock down some doors.
Yeah, well.
And no after no after, and just keep pushing forward and keep teaching yourself. And even in real estate and mortgage, even if you never aspired to be in real estate or mortgage or any other trade, you need to have your toolbox.
That's like getting knocked down and say, I'm getting up.
Exactly.
I'm not taking it full count for nobody.
Exactly.
I'm going to keep going forward.
Right? The final bell, that's when you take a dirt nap, right? So never give up. And even if you're in a situation where, I was thinking about doing real estate and, I work a full-time job and I have the house and the kids, get your license. Put it in your toolbox. I didn't do real estate full-time for many years because I had a family taking care of my son going through college. But something, and I had to work a full-time job. So when it came down to it, hey, I want to take vacation. Hey, sell a house, do a mortgage, So it wasn't a hobby, of course. It was just an auxiliary tool that I had in my toolbox. There's so many opportunities and so many things for people and women to learn in this day with the internet. So there's nothing that you can't do. And if someone says don't do it, try even harder.
That's it. Because, today with modern day technology, today with social media, there's so much more. Today, I think it's much easier today than it was years ago when you first started, because the internet service wasn't there. All that was not available for you. Now it's so much easier. You get online, you can Google anything, you can go online, and there's so much. You can have these chat rooms, you can have individuals that you can get information from to get you going much easier than you could 25 years ago.
That's very true. I agree with you. But in this day and age, everybody can read it on the internet, and they're an expert.
Right.
There's a lot to say for us old school folks
Right.
who have the experience and the working knowledge. Anybody can read a book and learn, but there's especially in real estate, there's dozens and dozens of scenarios that could come up,
Right.
but you wouldn't know what to do unless you had a mentor or somebody who's been through it before and could guide you so you can stay out of trouble.
Well, I think having a mentor is so important, because even myself, when I got started in the boxing world, I had to go through somebody. It wasn't all myself. I had to learn from somebody. I watched other referees, individuals, officials. I would learn from them. Arthur McCanty, Zach Clayton, Tony Perez, some of the great referees out there of the past. And I know someone like Arthur McCanty was one of the best referees of all times. You have Larry Hazard and myself started out together, and Larry Hazard and I would call it a buddy system. Him and I would talk to each other so many times a day to help each other and create ideas, different scenarios to see what decisions we would make and how we would revolutionize refereeing, which we did. We started the first seminars, Larry Hazard and I, and Dr. Mike Sabia in New Jersey in 1979 was our first seminar ever given by any officials. There was not a school for referees. Whatever the referees did in the ring, that was acceptable for the fans. If the referee called it, that's the way it is. No, Larry Hazard and I said, Larry Hazard was an educator. He was a principal of a high school in New Jersey. And me being in boxing all my life, I said, we put it together. We said, let's create different ideas, different scenarios. Let's set a set of rules. How do we apply rules, a knockdown, a position, the ring mechanics of a referee? When do you give warnings? When you give strong warnings, light warnings? When you start taking points? When you call in the ringside doctor? When do you fighters start hitting punches behind the head? All illegal flagrant punches, accidental punches. So we had to create rules for every single one of these different scenarios to make boxing more professional, to keep making sure that these fighters who work so hard to get to a certain level, that they will be able to get a fair chance with the right referee and the judges as well. And there's 4 criteria, in scoring the fight. People say, how do you score a fight? I tell them, hey, there's the criteria. Effective aggressiveness, the ring generalship, the harder blows, and defense. So, all these little, that's how you kind of sit down to evaluate a fight. When the fight is going on, how you score a fight, Do you score, after that round is over, you turn it in, that round is, forget about that, now we're going to, the next round is like the first round.
Yes.
Forget about what happened in the previous rounds to make it fair to the fighters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I didn't know you were one of the architects of the first set of boxing rules and for the commission.
Yeah, Larry Hazard and I started
Oh, wow.
that. There was no seminars ever given. Larry Hazard and I started them, and then we started doing with the World Boxing Council, then with the International Boxing Federation, and the World Boxing Association, and the last group sanctioned by was the World Boxing Organization, WBO. So we've been involved with all of them, and we helped with all these different sanctioning bodies to set a set of rules to get them in place so that referee can do the job the right way, especially for the fighters. We want the fighters to get a fair share of the fight, but not to take any unnecessary punishment, which is first and foremost is
the safety of the
fighter.
boxer. Yes.
And then the second is enforcing the rules. But there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that a lot of fans don't know about. The referees going out there, we go into the dressing rooms prior to the fight, and we give the instructions in the dressing room. It's not just what we do inside. When we're in the ring with the fighters together, we already discussed all of that. That's why I said we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Touch them up. Okay, but there's a lot of that goes on prior to the fight in the dressing room. That's where the referee takes control of the fight. To make it easy for yourself, take control back there, making sure that when you get in the ring, you already warn them. If you hit out when on a break, it may cost you a point. If you hit your opponent while he's on, it's going to cost you a point, or you may be disqualified. Accidental headbutts, intentional fouls, spitting out the mouthpiece, all these things we discuss in the dressing room prior to the fight, before the bell sounds. So these are a lot of things that go on that a lot of fans don't know about, but we try to educate the fans with these different programs. That's why we have this program. We talk about different topics. Sometimes I talk about nothing but boxing, but today I want to mix it up a little bit because of Lita Kaufman, who's here, that we want to make sure that you as a boxing fan, and if you're a female, this is a role model for you to look at, to somebody that can get you started on the right direction when it comes to sports.
Thank you. And I also wanted to add, because you were talking about the professional refereeing, it's also critical to the youth because, they're just getting started, and some wrong decisions can change the whole trajectory of their lives.
Exactly.
But you have to protect them first. I mean, I'm a mother, so if I see someone's nose, all I want to do is go in and hug them and make them, but you can as a professional. But, it's very important to be fair and give guidance to the youth so, that you don't discourage them out of the sport.
Well, like I told fighters, I'm fair, but I'm firm.
Yes.
I got to take control, but I'm fair with them.
Yes.
But the thing is that I treat fighters like if they're my sons.
Yes.
There could be a male or female in there, and people say, Joe, are you more quicker to stop a female fight than you do a male fight? I don't. If a female is in there and she's already in our ring as a professional, I say to myself, she came prepared, she's ready. But now if you see that she's definitely doesn't have it, of course I'm gonna stop it. It could be a male as well. I will stop it as soon as possible. Right. I don't want these fighters to take unnecessary punishment. I want them to go back home safe to their families again. And that's what's most important in boxing as a referee. You have to be serious about your job. You can have a thick skin to be a referee. You can't be be intimidated by the fans, or if you or you referee a fight in a foreign country and you're in the hometown with that particular fighter and you're afraid of stopping the fight because you think the fans gonna get on you after the fight, then you shouldn't be a referee. You gotta have thick skin in this business and do your job right.
Yes, I agree with you. You have to have thick skin in every asset that you're trying to get into as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
You gotta have a big heart and big caring ways about you. But you have to have that caring for the individual. You have to care for these fighters.
Yes.
Like if they're your own children. You know, you have to go in there with that mentality. But at the same time, if you commit a foul, I'm gonna take some points.
Yep.
You know. Or you may be
Exactly.
disqualified, which I've done several times throughout my career. I refereed for 35 years. Maybe I disqualified 3 fighters in my whole career in professional boxing. But you got to do what you have to do as an official.
Yes.
And that's why we set up the Larry Hazard and I said, there's some rules that are not applied. And, we just can't say, how can a referee go in there and don't have any rules? There was like a mandatory 8 count, or there was one time there was no mandatory 8 count. Back in the old days, a fighter would get hit, he would go down, and the referee would be there counting. If he got about 4, as soon as he finished his 4, his opponent was standing right there. There was no neutral corner. He was right there. As soon as he got up, he got him. He clocked him right there on the spot.
Oh.
I mean, so they had to make some rules back then. But then there was a mandatory 8 count, and then there was an automatic. If you get knocked down 3 times in the same round, the fight was automatically over. Today it's up to the discretion of the referee. You can let the fight go down, a fighter go down more than 3 times. Like I did in a fight with Manny Pacquiao when he knocked down Juan and Marquez 3 times in the first round, in the first fight. And I let the fight continue. And people say, wow, Joe, he went down 3 times in the first round. You let it go. But I saw something. Me being an ex-fighter and being a referee with some experience, I said, this guy's not ready to go yet. Even though he went down 3 times, it was up to my discretion, so I let it continue. He got up, and after the 3rd knockdown, he finished the round strong, and he ended up getting a draw at the end of the fight with Manny Pacquiao. And Bob Arum said it best. He says, at the press conference before the last fight that they had, the 4th fight, Bob Arum said, you all have to remember that the referee at the first fight, Joe Cortez, didn't stop that first fight when Marquez was knocked down 3 times. The referee let it continue. Had he stopped that fight 2, 3, or 4 would have never occurred.
Happened, right.
So when these guys see me, they say, wow, man, they made a couple of $100 million because Joe Cortez didn't stop the first fight.
Right.
And that's the way it is. But I was there to do my job.
Right.
But you have to stop it. If I thought he was bad enough, I would have stopped it. But that's the way it is. But that's why you have to have experience to go into do the major fights, especially these big championship fights. But safety is first.
Safety is always first.
Yeah. So what else can you tell us about what advice can you give to young ladies out there that are watching? Because that's why I brought you on the show, because you're an inspirational individual to give the young ladies good advice to get on with their careers.
So have a positive mentality, practice gratitude, because the universe, and everything's out there in the universe, and things could always be worse. So just go through life with a positive aspect. Learn everything you can about the profession or vocation that you choose. Reach out to others for guidance and mentorship. I would love to mentor women in business, and I think that would be awesome. And so I learned something this past week. They said you always hear knowledge is power.
Right.
Knowledge is not power unless you execute that knowledge.
Exactly.
So
True.
learn as much as you can. Make sure that you have different sources, different income streams. So if one is eliminated, you'll always be okay and can take care of yourself.
So I've always believed in Plan B. Plan B, because if Plan A doesn't work out, you have to have where you fall back to go to Plan B. It happens in boxing as well. You could be in that ring and you end up getting cut. Now you got your fight plan changes. Now you got to go to Plan B. You have to be prepared for that. That's why if you have a good trainer who can train you the correct way and tell you, okay, listen, this is what will happen. If you get cut on your left eye, you don't want to keep going. Maybe you want to go southpaw. This way your head is a little further away from his punches. And keep that left hand up a little bit more because you have a tendency of dropping it too much. So you got to go to Plan B. You have to be prepared for all these different scenarios, and you do that while you're in training. A trainer has to tell you, okay, this is where we're going to spar today for this particular way of fight, But in plan B, if something goes wrong, this way we're going to change. So you practice that during training. That's why a lot of individuals think that boxing, that you fight for so many rounds, but to prepare, the preparation for a fight can be, if you, let's say you're fighting a 10-round fight, preparing for that fight, you may be going 50, 60, 70, 80 rounds or more sometimes, getting prepared for that 10-round fight. It's not just what's going on in the ring. All the months prior to that you got to get ready. So preparation is a lot, but you need a good trainer who's very well educated in the sport to make sure that you can go to plan B, A, B, and C if you have
Yes,
to.
yes.
You know, that's the way life is as well.
And you have to keep pivoting in different directions because life hits you with all kinds of different things.
That's right.
So, you know, and all those fights before the training and sparring, that helps build up your stamina. So they don't just do like 10-round sparring sessions. They keep going and going, and you have to keep, just like in life, you have to keep pushing yourself and making yourself better and never give up and always take the next step, which is why everything I've done in boxing is a natural progression from the step before.
Right.
Like I learned that and just add on and add on and add on to
I also
it.
believe, you know, women sometimes get a little bit intimidated by a male or their significant other because their, you know, their spouse, sometimes they get abused sometimes, and this is why I tell young ladies out there, don't take abuse. I mean, you should not that you're going to fight them one-on-one, but say something. Something's going wrong, say something, get some help from somebody, whether it's a neighbor, a family member, somebody. Reach out for help. There's also help out there for individuals, different organizations that will help you as a female to get help when you need it.
I agree with you. And besides the physical, there's also mental abuse,
Exactly.
and which you can't see those scars.
Right.
So you don't know who is healing from what malady. And also with the internet, if you don't have someone you can trust and you don't have someone you could talk to, you could always search for help on the internet and in social media. And people have 50, 100, 150, 500 friends. I guarantee you there's somebody on your friend list who will want to be there to help you.
Right, exactly. No, I truly believe in that. That's why I say that if you see something, say something.
Yes.
Don't let somebody get abused. There's also the child abuse as well is out there. I mean, there's so many organizations out there, so many numbers and many groups you can reach out to if you need some help. There's always somebody willing to give you a helping hand, especially when you got somebody who's being abused. And that's why I'm very proud of you that you're on the show because, like I said before, you're an inspiration because you seem to be a go-getter. Nothing's going to stop you. And, you know, you're not going to let nobody abuse of you neither.
Oh, never, never, no. And you see how tall I am too, right?
Yeah. You're what, about 5'11"?
I'm 5'11", yes.
5'11",
yes.
okay. Yeah, pretty good. So with your height, you can intimidate somebody. Just
Well, I don't mean to.
With your height, but you can defend yourself if you have to.
Well, yeah, boxing, hello, of course. But no, I'm just a quiet, shy wallflower. So no, I'm not gonna fight anybody.
Well,
but,
I'm a nice guy too, but if you mess with me, you know, then it's a different ballgame.
That's for the next show.
I'm the nicest guy in the world, you know. But I would say if the right one don't get you, the left one will.
Yeah, indeed, absolutely.
Yeah. No, but I tell you, being nice to people is so important.
It is.
And you know, you have to care for people out there. You have to show them that you really care for them, that you have a good heart, and you really. We're not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect, but I'm hard to beat. That's all I can say.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, you know, that's fantastic.
You know, that's I mean, try to be good to people out there, try to make things happen, and always pay it forward.
Always pay it forward.
You know?
Absolutely.
Pay it forward because there's a lot of individuals only think about themselves all the time. Me. No, not about me,
it's
me.
Nothing to do with you.
No, it got to do that. I've already accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I'm a leader out there, and I like to get involved in the community, but I like to give good advice and pay it forward.
Absolutely. It's always about paying it forward.
And always making sure that the person that you're talking to, like we're talking to you, I want to give you a vote of confidence that, yes, you can do anything. You can make it happen. Whatever your dream is, follow your dream.
Thank you. Absolutely. And I have dreams. I'm not done yet. So I have more goals and plans.
Yeah. So what's on the horizon for you now?
So I am a licensed Nevada boxing manager, so I'm going to be managing boxers. And the reason why is because I love boxing. I love the boxers. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the pure love and service to another human being and individual. And I have great negotiating skills being in real estate and mortgages. So I would be able to look over the person as a whole person, guide them in different aspects of life, and help them get fights.
Well, you heard it there today from Lita Kaufman from New York, Brooklyn, New York, and she's here in Las Vegas. You guys keep your cars open at all time, protect yourselves at all time. Remember, we love you. Stay well. We'll see you next week. Thank you,
Take care.
Lita,
Thank
for
you
being on
so
the show.
much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. See you next
Take
time.
care.
Bye-bye.